What's going on, guys? So, part of what made the MCU so special was the connection between each film. Certain things that would be said or done to connect one film to another. This was especially the case for the Infinity Stones, which is what the entire saga was centered around. In this video, I'll be looking back at the MCU's Infinity Stones. Starting off, we have the Tesseract. This relic was the cornerstone for multiple films in Phase 1. In Captain America: The First Avenger, the Red Skull was searching for the Tesseract after hearing the power that it contains. After obtaining it, the Red Skull used it to make weapons for Hydra. After fighting Captain America on a plane, the Tesseract fell into the ocean and was recovered by Howard Stark. From there, it was kept at a SHIELD base under Camp Lehigh in New Jersey to be studied further. Howard Stark then started a project to create the arc reactor along with Obadiah Stane and Anton Vanko, a project where they tried to replicate the power of the Tesseract. Then it was taken by a Kree named Mar-Vell, who was posing as a doctor named Wendy Lawson. She used the Tesseract in Project Pegasus, where she attempted to create a light-speed engine. Carol Danvers discovered this and attempted to destroy the Tesseract with a handgun, but it exploded and gave her powers instead. After that, it sat in Mar-Vell's lab in space, until it was recovered by Nick Fury and Captain Marvel. Years later, Nick Fury recruited astrophysicist Erik Selvig to study the Tesseract, when it suddenly opened a portal and Loki appeared. Following the events of the Avengers film, the Tesseract was taken to Asgard by Thor for safekeeping. It wasn't seen again until the opening of Infinity War, where Thanos stole it from Loki and smashed it, revealing the Space Stone inside. The Space Stone is capable of teleporting someone through portals to any point in the universe. It even teleported the Red Skull to the planet Vormir at the end of Captain America: The First Avenger. Next we have the Aether. A long time ago, King Odin's father, Bor, was at war with a race called the Dark Elves and their leader Malekith over the Aether, which is a liquid form of the Reality Stone. It's capable of warping reality around it and granting the user strength and durability. Bor hid the Aether in a dimension where the Dark Elves would never find it. Way later on, Thor's girlfriend Jane Foster accidentally stumbled upon the Aether in London. A convergence happened which revealed portals to other dimensions at random. The Aether merged with Jane's body and she was taken to Asgard by Thor to extract it. Then Malekith shows up to take the Aether back and he battles Thor, where Malekith ends up dying. After that, the Aether was taken to the Collector, a being who collects artifacts from around the universe. It wasn't seen or mentioned again until Infinity War, when Thanos destroyed the Collector's archive and stole it. Then there's the Mind Stone. The first appearance of this stone was in the Avengers film, but at the time, it was inside Loki's scepter. Thanos gave Loki the scepter so that he could conquer Earth and hopefully obtain more Infinity Stones. Loki would use this scepter to control the minds of whoever he touched with it, as he did with Hawkeye and Erik Selvig. After the Battle of New York, the scepter was taken into custody by S.H.I.E.L.D. However, with S.H.I.E.L.D. being compromised by Hydra, one of the agents stole it and handed it off to Baron von Strucker, who then used the scepter to give Pietro and Wanda Maximoff, two captive siblings, some powers. The scepter was taken back by the Avengers, where they discovered the Mind Stone inside of it. Then, Tony Stark and Bruce Banner used the Mind Stone, along with Tony's AI, to create Vision, a synthesoid in a body made from vibranium. Vision had the Mind Stone implanted in his forehead, which not only gave him life, but he could use it as a weapon as well. Vision would stay in possession of the Mind Stone until Infinity War, where Thanos tracked him to Wakanda and ripped it out of his forehead. After that is the Power Stone. This stone first appeared in Guardians of the Galaxy. Star-Lord was on a mission to retrieve a mysterious orb from the planet Morag for the leader of the Ravengers, Yondu. However, Star-Lord double-crossed Yondu and took the orb to a planet called Xandar, where he planned to sell it. This caught the attention of Gamora, an assassin hired by a Kree named Ronan the Accuser, who sent her to steal the orb. The two of them, along with bounty hunters Rocket Raccoon and Groot, get sent to prison for causing the disturbance. Once there, along with an inmate named Drax, they head to Nowhere, a marketplace inside the head of a dead Celestial. And this is the home base of the Collector. When they meet with him about the orb, he opens it and reveals the Power Stone, which is capable of granting the user insane power. He also explains to them that this is one of 6 Infinity Stones, which were forged eons ago and all have different energy concentrated into them. However, they were spread across the galaxy because having them all in one location would be too dangerous. That's funny because 4 of them were literally on Earth all at the same time at one point. Anyway, Ronan eventually gets the Power Stone and betrays Thanos, who hired him to retrieve it in the first place. Ronan wanted the power for himself. This leads to a battle on Xandar between him and the Guardians, where they use the Power Stone to destroy Ronan. After that, it was given to the Nova Corps, a space force stationed on the planet Xandar. And we didn't see it again until the opening of Infinity War, where Thanos uses it to destroy the ship housing the Asgardians. Thanos had already attacked Xandar before the opening of the movie and stolen the Power Stone. Next up is the Time Stone. The first time we see this one is in Doctor Strange. When Strange goes to learn the mystic arts at Kamar-Taj, he finds the Eye of Agamotto, a relic that allows the user to manipulate time, coupled with the right spells from the Darkhold, an evil book of spells. It's revealed that the Eye is actually housing the Time Stone, although there's no telling how long it's been at Kamar-Taj. But the Ancient One who trained Strange wore it long before he even got there. After a while, Caecilius, one of the Ancient One's old students, uses the Darkhold to summon an interdimensional being named Dormammu, planning on merging Earth with the Dark Dimension, the dimension where Dormammu is from. This leads to a battle in Hong Kong, where Doctor Strange uses the Time Stone to trap Dormammu in a time loop, forcing him to retreat and leave Earth. After that, the Eye of Agamotto remained in Doctor Strange's custody until the events of Infinity War, where he was forced to hand it over to Thanos to spare Tony Stark's life. The last stone, and the most mysterious, is the Soul Stone. The whereabouts of this one were unknown for the longest time, mostly because it wasn't featured or mentioned in any movie leading up to Infinity War. In the movie, Gamora is the only person who has heard of the stone's true location. Thanos learns of this and tortures her sister, Nebula, until she reveals the location, which is on a planet named Vormir. Once Thanos and Gamora arrive on Vormir, they're greeted by the Keeper of the Soul Stone, who ends up being the Red Skull. He was teleported to Vormir by the Space Stone and must forever be the keeper of this one. Anyway, he tells them that the only way to obtain the Soul Stone is to sacrifice someone you love. So, Thanos hurls Gamora off a cliff and suddenly finds a stone in his hand. With all the stones together, Thanos snaps his fingers and erases half the universe, including most of the heroes in the MCU. 5 years later, the Avengers reassemble and go after Thanos, hoping to undo the snap. But Thanos reveals to them that he used the stones to destroy the stones. Eventually, they discover time travel is possible and go back to points in the past to retrieve the stones. However, in the process of this, the Ancient One warns them that they must return the stones to where they came from, to avoid creating branches in the timeline. So Captain America, Iron Man, Ant-Man, and the Hulk go back to the Battle of New York to get the Tesseract and the Scepter. Hulk also gets the Time Stone from the Ancient One. But a botch in the plan ends with Loki stealing the Tesseract and escaping. So they have to get the Tesseract from another time period at the S.H.I.E.L.D. base in Camp Lehigh. Thor and Rocket go to Asgard during the events of Thor the Dark World and retrieve the Aether from Jane Foster's body. Hawkeye and Black Widow go to Vormir, unaware of what they must do to get the Soul Stone. So after talking to the Red Skull, Black Widow sacrifices herself to let Hawkeye obtain it. Finally, War Machine and Nebula go to Morag during the events of the first Guardians film, and they take the orb from Star-Lord. However, the Nebula from that timeline learns of their plan and sends that Thanos forward in time to stop them from undoing the snap. Back in present time, the Avengers assemble a new gauntlet and are successful in bringing back everyone who was snapped away. But then, Thanos shows up to fight them for control of the gauntlet. This ends with Iron Man getting the stones back and snapping away Thanos and his army. Following this, Captain America has one last mission, to return the stones to their rightful places in the past. And that was that. The stones were a vital part of the Infinity Saga for sure. The whole thing centered around them. Each stone had its own power and was stored in its own containment. The Tesseract, the Aether, the Scepter, the Orb, the Eye of Agamotto, and, Well, Vormir, I guess. What would you do if you had the stones? Would you snap away half the universe? Or would you use them for good? Thanks for watching, guys, and I hope you enjoyed Infinity Saga Month. I'll see you later.